how many fandroids do I get on this page that go, Samsung makes Apple phones? And each time I laugh and just tell them they're a headline reader and they don't actually understand how the industry works. So let's learn together so you don't make such silly statements anymore. Does Samsung make Apple phones? No. Does Samsung make Apple screens? Yes. But it's not what you think. Samsung was founded in 1938 as a trading company. Nowadays, it's a massive international conglomerate with their fingers in a wide variety of industries. We're talking biotech, medical equipment, marketing, shipbuilding, engineering, insurance, IT services, batteries, electromechanics. And what we're focusing on today, consumer electronics. Now, a few years ago, before an admittedly smart merger, the mobile, electronics manufacturing, and display divisions were separate entities. And that is who Apple contracts with to produce 82% of their displays. This is not as simple as Apple coming along to Samsung and buying S22 Ultra displays and popping them in their iPhones. Please note, the following analogy is not accurate to how the actual fast food industry works, but it's apt. Let's imagine the fast food industry. Just like any industry, there is a supply chain that, in this case, ends with the restaurant. McDonald's, Wendy's, A&W. With a hamburger, it begins on the farm or feedlot, slaughterhouse. These farms produce raw beef that then is supplied to these restaurants whose chefs add spices, cook it in certain ways to make your favorite Big Mac or Grandpa Burger. Now imagine Wendy's owns these farms as well. Wendy's Farms Inc. Now, they knowing there is a massive restaurant business out beyond just their own, it would be a pretty poor business decision not to supply their apparent competitors with that beef. But if McDonald's is taking beef from Wendy's Farm Inc., doesn't that make a McDonald's hamburger actually a Wendy's hamburger? No, of course not. They're both hamburgers, but they're very different. What about the patty then? Again, no. They taste and look completely different. McDonald's may add garlic powder and oregano to their burger patties and shape them in a circle. Maybe Wendy's is using onion powder and paprika and shaping it into a square. They are both made of beef from Wendy's Farm Inc., but McDonald's is not coming along and getting finished Wendy's patties and throwing them in their double quarter pounders with cheese. The only real difference between this analogy and the actual electronics industry is Wendy's happens to have a patty manufacturing kitchen on the farm. A&W chefs come to them with a specific recipe to cook, and the Wendy's line chefs prepare it as instructed by that recipe. And so help them God if Wendy's chefs happen to copy that recipe and use it in their own hamburger. Not only would they be sued into oblivion for IP theft, perhaps to the tune of $539 million, just a random number, they would lose that massive customer who sells more hamburgers than they would ever hope to in their own restaurants. And that is the relationship between Apple and Samsung. Samsung operates manufacturing plants who produces display screens for many manufacturers. Microsoft, Lenovo, ZTE, HP, Acer, Vivo, and their biggest customer, Apple. But Apple, like a chef develops a recipe, designs each and every aspect of that screen that then Samsung's line chefs produce for them. And as you know, a McDonald's hamburger may in fact be better than a Wendy's hamburger, even though they're made from the same beef from the same source. It's just all in how you make it. So that is how Apple screens are currently better rated than Samsung screens, even though they're technically made by Samsung. So before spouting off in some TikToker's video comments with some uneducated drivel, at least do a modicum of research. Or ask. Many TikTokers like me love the opportunity to educate.